It's been proven difficult to get a good 4-cell run going, so instead, why not relax, have a good time with a little bit of cursed sword action. Alright, this wasn't supposed to be a cursed sword run, I just happened to be that way because well, what I was doing, I was resetting trying to get a wrenching whip, but hey, when you get a cursed sword coming up, why not? Anyway, wrenching whip has been changed up a little bit, and now has a kick in its combo, it's cool and everything, but cursed sword, you get it so rarely. Honestly, I don't mind doing cursed sword runs at all. I think it's a really fun sort of experiment, at least. But what really ends up happening is that you spend more time resetting, trying to get a cursed sword in the first area than actually, you know, playing the game. If you could just, like, get an NPC, I don't know, maybe like the tentacle guy from the original, back when the Watcher was the final boss of the game, and you talk to him and you're like, hey, I want to trade in my starting weapon for a cursed sword. And he's like, yeah, sure, have fun. I'd be totally cool with that. Because that would mean that I could do a lot more than... Here's the thing, I remember back when Rebirth, Binding of Isaac Rebirth came out and the Lost was unlocked, the character that died in one hit regardless of how much health you had because you had no health, period. And there were a lot of people that were like, oh, well, I don't want to play that character because, hey, he's too hard, he's just, you know, total cheap nonsense. But, like, I don't know. I like it. I like the idea. I mean, if I was a, you know, the sort of Binding of Isaac type guy or, you know, channel, I would be doing a ton of Lost runs. Probably even to the point that I wouldn't unlock the Holy Mantle for him and everything. Quick cut there because what happened was I dropped my controller and it stopped working for like 5 minutes. Of course, here's the thing. If I was going to cheat in this run, you know, wouldn't it not end in a failure? By the way, if you're wondering, no points for guessing exactly what I die to. It's the same thing every time. You saw there that the alienation has been changed up. Instead of reducing the amount of points that you need to relieve a curse from yourself, now what happens is you heal 10% as you relieve a curse, and that's it. I don't like it. I preferred the old alienation a lot more. The ability to get rid of curse points easier was so very useful. Because one of the greatest things about being able to remove curses easier is that you don't have to be cursed for as long. And you can see here I'm dealing with being cursed pretty easily. The strategy that I was going with was basically the less time that I spend in harm's way, as Massive Attack would put it, the more time I spend safe from harm, the less chance that I have to get harmed. So just go through as quick as possible. Besides, the Cursed Sword has really good stats. You don't need to pump in a whole lot of... You don't need to get as many stat points as you possibly can to get a really decent Cursed Sword that does a lot of damage. And that's why I don't need to, say, go underground and expose myself to a ton of bats everywhere, as well as bombardiers and trackers and everything. If I don't need to, I can just, you know, grab what stats I come by and then get out of Dodge, you know? Similarly, I'm just going through the easiest route possible. If I don't need the extra stats, there's no reason that I need to go into a place that, say, has a bunch of shockers, like the Ossuary, where those things are Cursed Sword run-enders. Mutations. What do you take? What do you take? I don't know. Because usually my main goal with Mutations is either, you know, getting as much damage as possible, which I don't really do that much because most of the mutations that I would like to take don't work very well against bosses. Or it's mitigating damage or helping you heal more, something like that. And that's not an issue here. Man, I'm gonna be honest, I do not know who the Cursed Sword is for. The Cursed Sword is a neat idea and concept. I like the idea of, you know, giving yourself the double extra super challenge, but in a regular run, who would want to take this? There are just too many opportunities to get hit all the time. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, you don't have to worry about health, so you just build for damage all the time. I probably should have gone with tactics, speaking of which, instead of brutality. But, you know, hindsight 2020, etc. So yeah, you can obviously, hey, now that I can't get hit, you just build for damage, period. You don't have to worry about damage reduction, you don't have to worry about, you know, splitting up your stats enough so that you have a decent amount of health. Of course, you don't have to be cursed to do that. In fact, I would recommend that you not be cursed to do that, because then you might survive a hit or two at least. And the other thing is that it has high damage, but it doesn't have such high damage that it would justify actually using it in a normal game. I mean, pretty much at the point in time when I think that a curse sword would be useful, why do you need to put that extra stress on you? Also, it kind of looks like the sword from Transistor, which I don't know if that was intentional, but after finding out that Acid Nerves was apparently a reference to the Titan Souls developer, which is cool. Maybe? Maybe. I remember when the boss runes first came out, I thought that was pretty similar to how Supermassive did difficulty in Bastion, so it might actually be a reference to that. Yeah, no easy way out of this area. As much as I've done curse swords, I guess I don't really have too much strategy, but one of the ones that I've always noticed is very useful is to just check on the right side of the ramparts as quickly as possible to see if you got the lucky spawn that has the elevator way over there. Saves you a lot of diving down into these towers. And a lot of dealing with all these biters, which are just horrible. That was so close. I remember even at the time being like, oh god, oh god. Oh, there is one time that I don't want to be fighting elites that's in this run. Like, jeez. If anybody does really love using the curse sword, if they're like, yeah man, curse sword's the best, why would you ever not use it? Let me know, because I'm kind of curious as to like, why? I mean, here's the thing. I could probably do a curse sword if I could get it more consistent. A curse sword run if I could get it more consistently. It's really the restart in the game, trying to get it from the start, all that I don't like more than anything else. But after that point, I mean, I do, you can build damage, and I can easily do the first two bosses, Incomplete One and Assassin, pretty easily without getting hit, because Incomplete One has a very easy pattern, what with the punches, and then punches going into jumps. I mean, the worst thing you gotta watch out for is the damage field there. But after that, yeah, you just get right behind him, you hit him, move away from him until he uses the shield, and then wait until the shield's down, go back, hit him again. Simple as that. Second one is the Assassin, who is not too bad to do perfect on because she doesn't have any invincibility time. She doesn't have any invincibility phases. She's got relatively low boss for a health. Relatively low health for a boss, kind of befitting of the classic Assassin archetype in games. And I would say that I'm pretty decent at dodging all of her attacks except for maybe her shurikens, and shurikens aren't too bad to actually dodge because you can throw down a turret to have those be absorbed. Having an assault shield with the curse sword lets you go through significantly faster because of the assault shield's kind of speedrun qualities, the ability to roll, dodge, roll cancel out of the dash, which lets you go super fast. I have not been using it enough in this. It also allows you to get up to some of the really tall places, or at least did before they introduced wall climbing into the game. I don't know, I think that having a curse sword, having an assault shield is the perfect combination if you wanted to do speedrunning, but it's also the perfect combination to give you a heart attack, so, pick your poison, I suppose. Oh yeah, and I grabbed the corrupted healing and everything, and I didn't even use it, and I knew I had a free charge coming there. Yeah, if you're sick of not being able to heal in between levels, grab a curse sword. Make sure that you never have to heal, for any reason. Also, another thing to note is that even at this This is literally the first curse sword that I could have possibly gotten. There's no upgrading that I even do to this, and the damage it's doing is fine. I haven't even been taking every single scroll possible, so... But like I said, it's decent damage. It is not nearly good enough to justify never being hit in the game at all, ever, period. If I was going to say, you know, if this was going to be a showcase run or talk about any sort of strategies that you could use with Cursed Sword, the obvious one is, yeah, grab ice grenades, grab any sort of thing that stops enemies from attacking you, period. If I could take 2 ice grenades and, I don't know, an ice bow, that's probably the build that I would have gone with here. That would also probably allow me to go full tactics without any issue at all. Yeah, you go full tactics, you get as much cooldown as possible, and you freeze everything. I think a grenade is also a pretty useful thing because you're able to take out bats and any sort of, well, let's say annoying enemies. For example, these biter worms here, which just, I don't know if I've ever actually died to a biter worm while not being cursed, which the game does not count you dying being cursed as, like, a true death. Or at least as far as I can tell. So, it's the fact that they attack so quickly, and that the Cursed Sword is not the fastest type of sword in the game. I would prefer a lot if the moveset it had was closer to, like, the Balance Blade than the... I think it's the Blood Sword's moveset, where it kind of has enough of a delay on swinging it in the first place that you feel it, and it's annoying. But, you know, I mean, what are you gonna do? It's like, the sword is already... I don't know, I guess, you know, give yourself as many advantages as possible. Why not just make it why not just throw on the moveset from the Balance Blade on there? Then it would be... Well, it wouldn't be better, but I don't know. So, anyway... Hey, I could have grabbed that rapier and made this a pretty decent 3-cell run, but no, that is not the run that I'm doing here. I'm going to see this one to the sad and pathetic end that it has. Let me assure you. The fact that I got to the Clocktower, though, especially in 3-cell mode, is a thing. I mean, you gotta give me props for that, if nothing else. A little disappointing that I couldn't get to the assassin, because I really do think I probably would have had a good chance against her. Oh, just played my hand. Yeah, I die in this area. Of course, you can always check the length of the video if you're interested in seeing when it's about to be approaching the end. Much, much more difficult area. The Bombardier's easily able to snipe you. The Cannibal's easily able to... Well, actually also kind of snipe you. That jump is pretty far. Tracker's always following you. Always ready to stick a dagger up your butt. Oh, so it's not the easiest. I don't even know why I did that. I could probably take out a tracker, but it's not worth it. I mean, the trackers, especially elite trackers, are just the worst because they don't have to be in their second phase to continue to follow you. This is also... Ooh, yeah. Yeah, this is the point when I was like, okay, I have died to that spike on the corner there more than enough times that I should know better. Which is why I did that whole little maneuver with the wall climbing to try to avoid getting grenaded and hit by the cannibal and just everything. I think it was maybe the best decision I made in this, aside from that one part way early on the promenade where I didn't immediately jump into the ball and chain there. Which was also maybe the other closest point that I was to dying at the start. Like, literally at the start. Ice Grenade getting a lot of use in this area. No surprise. All I gotta do is just be absolutely sure that I don't accidentally throw it against an elite. If I take any damage from